Welcome to the Student Success Center Learning Skills and Strategies workshops. My name is Leah and I'm a peer success coach. And today we're going to be talking all about effective note-taking strategies. So note-taking is a very important skill that we can use in our classes, while we're reading textbooks, to help us to really retain the information that we are taking in. So it helps us to retain it so we can use it later when we're studying for tests or assignments, but it also helps us to understand the information because we can lay out things in our own words or in a clear way that really makes it easy for us to understand. Additionally, note-taking helps you to organize your thoughts and ideas, and it also helps you to remain present and focused during lectures. So we know that kind of having that mind to paper connection while we're listening to our professor can help us to really retain what they're saying, as well as get those key points that maybe aren't necessarily on the slide or on the other course materials. So there's a lot of different note-taking methods that different students find work best for them, and there really is no one answer solution towards the question of how to take good notes. But we can suggest a lot of different techniques and methods that may be good for you to try out if you're not really sure where to start or if you want to keep working on your current strategies. So the first method that we're going to talk about today is called the outlining method. So essentially this boils down to just being the regular way that we take notes if you tend to think about someone taking notes. So what we typically use are things like bullet points to create a structure following a main topic, a subtopic, and supporting details. So you can make sure that all your notes are well categorized, and it helps to keep the information really clear, especially if you use different formatting like indenting or maybe even different colored pencils, pens, highlighters to highlight different topic headings, etc. So this type of method is really great to use when you need to organize linear information from something like a lecture, a slide set, or even if you're reading over a textbook outside of class. So it tends to be really good for lecture-heavy courses where you really need to follow a chronological way that the information is being presented. One way that we can use outlining, kind of in a different way, is maybe your professor posts the slides ahead of time or after class, and so you can bring those slides, maybe print them off or download them digitally, and you can make these kind of annotations in an outlining way on the slides, so that way you're able to catch all of the key information without, spending a lot of time outlining and writing in this format. So our second method that we like to talk about is called the Cornell method. So the main features of this note-taking method is that we divide the paper into 3 different sections. We have our notes section, our cue section, and then at the bottom, a summary section. So in the notes section, that's typically going to be our main notes. So we're going to maybe use things like shorthand or abbreviation to get those main points down, as well as any key thoughts that we have. So maybe we're thinking about a question that comes up, etc. And so we can put that into our cue section. We would also put maybe some key words that we want to recall later or that we don't quite understand yet, as well as maybe questioning things about the information that we don't understand yet. So this type of note-taking is really great for lecture-based or dense reading material courses because you can take a lot of notes while still having space to review the concepts in the bottom of the paper. So it's really great for bigger picture questions and dense subjects where you can then bring everything more concise at the bottom after. And so finally, our last note-taking method that we talk about is mind mapping. So mind mapping is kind of unique in that it's a little bit more tailored to someone that likes visual learning or likes to really see how things are connected to one another. So in mind mapping, we use diagrams to visually organize our information. We have our central idea in the middle, with then branches relating to different concepts coming off of that central idea. So we can see how our subtopics are related to the main topic as well as related to one another. So mind mapping is really great to use maybe if you're brainstorming, maybe you have to brainstorm for a paper or a group project and you want to make some notes based on the ideas, as well as organizing those really complex ideas. So maybe something like a philosophy course or a really interesting concept that is harder to break down into subsections. And again, like we said, it's really great for visual learners to see visually on paper how things are connected to one another. So now that we know about these 3 different methods, how do we choose which one is the best for us? So essentially, there is no one answer to this question, and what is going to be the best method for you really differs depending on the day and depending on the student. But what we do like to say is that you want to really reflect on your learning style. So maybe you're a bit more of a visual learner and you really like to see how things are connected, and so mind mapping is something that really works great for you. Maybe you are a bit more of a learner that really just likes to see the chronological flow of things, and you like to have the subheadings and the very clear organization, and so that outlining method is better for you. Additionally, we want to think about the context. So what are these notes being used for? Why are we taking them, etc.? So maybe we have a test coming up that is very definition heavy or very specific information heavy, and so we really want to have that keywords very well understood and stuff like that. So maybe we'll use like Cornell or the outlining method to make sure we're hitting all those key points. As opposed to maybe we have a test or an assignment that's a bit more conceptual, and it really is about how these ideas connect to one another. And so something like the mind mapping really helps you to solidify the connections between the ideas rather than just having those really specific information pieces down. Additionally, the type of content. So are you reviewing a textbook slide or a dense reading material versus reading PowerPoint slides, which have everything laid out? And then again, finally, we always say that don't be afraid to combine the methods. So try different things. Maybe mind mapping works really great for a section within your larger outlining. And so all of these things can help you to find what's best for you and what's best for the course and for your own success. And finally, if you want to meet with us to talk about more note-taking strategies or any other tools and strategies that we can help you with for your success, please come to the Student Success Center and meet with us, your peer success coaches. That's exactly what we're here for, and we want to see you succeed. So with that, thank you for listening to this workshop, and we'll see you in the next one. Thank you.